wonderful sweet baby. So today we're going to be talking about this entire situation that's going on with Christian Keys and his hit show on BET, which is called All the Queen's Men. So Christian Keys is claiming that his hit show that he has executive produced with Tyler Perry has pretty much been released for the season 2 trailer, and he had no idea about the release dates and just pretty much the promos and everything. They pretty much wiped him out of everything. And he had been stating that, he had went through this battle with them where they pretty much tried to erase everything from him and make it seem as if he never created the show. So this whole situation has caused for him to now speak out. And he wasn't deliberately speaking out towards anyone, but he was just upset for the simple fact that he wasn't included in on something that he should have been included in on. So I'm going to show you guys this video that he put out on his TikTok, and I'll come back for my final thoughts.
It is disappointing to continuously find out that your show is coming back on the internet instead of finding out from the network. And I've mentioned that in previous seasons, and it's still happening. Or to see the trailer online and have to go search for the trailer so I can try to download the trailer for the hit show that I created for this studio and this network, instead of getting it sent when everybody else is getting theirs. It does feel dismissive and disrespectful when it continues to happen and you've addressed it and it still happens. So at this point, I do not believe that the prequel series that I've written and the spinoff show, any prequel or sequels, I do not believe I'll be doing them with BET. I'm speaking with some amazing people that are interested, other streamers. So the All the Queen's Men universe will continue to thrive. I'm just not sure where it's going to be. It's not up to the studio. It's not up to the network. It's up to me, thankfully. So I will let you guys know where it's going to end up. Whether you noticed or not, season 2, my created by credit was removed. And I asked to get it back and they said no. And I ended up having to call the WGA, call the union to force the studio to give me my credit back that I had earned. I created this 15 years ago and I've been working on it for 15 years. I think God gave it to me because he knew I was going to protect it, and I will. But some things, these things got to change. So I'll figure out where it's going to be, but the universe will continue. The All the Queen's Men universe will carry on. And it'll continue to get even bigger and even better. The Vegas residency, I'm looking at next summer for the stage play, All the Queen's Men Live. I'm hoping to drop it in Vegas at an amazing casino. I'm speaking with a couple casinos right now, hoping to drop it in there next summer and then go on tour, hopefully to a city near you or to your city. So, and the play is written. It's incredible. So I'm really excited about that. So there's a lot of good news, a lot of great things going on within the All the Queen's Men world. In the prequel and sequel space, unfortunately, there are going to be a few personnel changes. Sometimes it happens, unfortunately, where some people get entitled or arrogant and unprofessional and, start coming to work high and inebriated on a regular basis, or start saying whatever they want to when the camera's rolling, and disrespectful ad libs and things. And those things will be addressed. So there may be some personnel changes, but the show will go on. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about July 24th. And I love and appreciate y'all. Thank you for the love and support for our favorite show.
Alrighty, so you guys heard that whole entire situation and what Christian Keys had to say. So he is now officially going to sever ties with, BET when it comes down to his show. And he's pretty much going to take his show and, all the royalties that he has with his show, and he is going to take it onto different platforms. Now, when I looked on his TikTok, people were giving him suggestions to go to Amazon, Netflix. People were giving him great suggestions. He was liking those suggestions. And, of course, he's listening to what the people want at the end of the day. Now, I don't know why they had Tyler Perry's picture sitting there. I think it's because he is executive producing this show with Tyler Perry. And people are just automatically assuming that, there's some issues there with Tyler Perry as well. And maybe that was just neighborhood talk being a little bit messy. But Christian Keyes actually went into the Neighborhood Talks comments and cleared up a few things that he is also executive producer as well. So it is not just, Tyler Perry that's EPing the show. He is also EPing the show as well. So go ahead and take a look at this. So Christian Keyes pretty much said, I am also executive producer on my show as well, for clarity. So here's my thoughts. For some odd reason, there's been a lot of traction towards Tyler Perry's name. And, you don't see all this traction come to someone's name for no apparent reason. I'm not for certain if, Tyler Perry has some doings in some of these things that Christian Keyes had talked about. And I'm not certain if, Tyler Perry will still continue to be EP of this show. But one thing that I do know for certain is that it is pretty crazy that, he had to come out and say these things. And, I'm not like, I mean, how do I say this? I'm not 100% going to put the blame on Tyler Perry because maybe Tyler Perry didn't have nothing to do with this. But all I know is that Tyler Perry has had a pretty good relationship with BET, and tons of his shows are on BET. And he is also the executive producer of this show with Christian Keyes. And I just feel like, with that being said, he's built a pretty steady relationship with the company BET since, years ago. So that just kind of makes me look at this a little bit side-eyed for him to be an executive producer of a show that he created, be removed from creator rights, which that's terribly wrong. And I'm glad that Christian Keyes stood up for himself because, there's some people that are too afraid and ashamed to stand up for themselves within these industries. So I'm glad that he stood up for himself when it came down to that. And I don't know, it's just, there was a whole entire situation where Tyler Perry was allegedly accused of, some misconduct type of things with another man. And, Christian Keyes, this comes following after, him coming up with allegations on a big, huge producer that he would not let people know who it was that did something strange to him. And it just all leads back to Tyler Perry. And I'm just like, I would like to hope that because Tyler Perry came from this, background of, praising God, and I was homeless, and then, I turned my life around and I became this big, huge producer, executive producer, director, built my own studio. I would like to hope that with him having a story like this, and with him being such a firm believer in God, which I'm assuming is Jesus Christ, he wouldn't do nothing like this. But, you never know with these people. That's why I like to say, when it comes down to these celebrities, any weird type of stories that you hear on these celebrities where you're like, oh, that couldn't be true, I just know they didn't do that, just believe that it is true, because there's some stories that I've heard about celebrities myself that I'm just kind of like, what? Are you kidding? And it's coming from somebody that I completely trust. So I'm just gonna leave that there, that you just can't believe everything you gotta believe it when somebody says it, because sometimes these people ain't lying. And I just got to get on BET as a whole as well. BET pushes this whole "it's for the culture" thing, and they've shown time and time again that they aren't to be trusted either, with just the little silly ass stuff that they do behind the closed doors. So, yeah, BET is not the network for people that want to do things for them, by them, because BET has changed significantly over the course of time. It's not owned by the same person it was owned by originally. It has been owned by a company that is owned by, different people that are not the complexion that we are. So, yeah, BET is not that company no more. You'd be better off going with, like they said, Amazon, Netflix, hell, even Tubi. You'd be better off even going to Tubi. I think you have more rights over at Tubi. And also, I just think that Christian Keyes is a good depiction of, when you start someplace, you use those skills and you branch off and do things that you love in the end. I'm glad that he's, becoming himself a director and a executive producer and a writer and a creator and doing screenplays. I'm glad that he's making a name for himself in his own realm rather than just eating off of the Tyler Perry name for the rest of his life and then complaining years later about how you don't have, residuals from being an actor. No, you create those residuals and you don't just continue to be an employee. You build those bridges for yourself. So I'm glad that he's doing that for himself as well. But that's my opinion. What's yours?